All right, party people. welcome all the family and friends of the GoPro Radio Network, all the people who are here with us in studio. Welcome. We're also broadcasting live on Facebook on the GoPro Radio Network page, also the Black Wax page simultaneously, and also on the feed. So if you are checking us out and you want to join the program today, we made it super fast and easy for you to do so. And all you have to do is go to GoProRadio.com. That's it, GoProRadio.com, and then click on the Join Live button, and you will be right in this wonderful room, this wonderful studio room with all these wonderful people here. Let me say hello to some of the folks who've joined us today. I want to say hello to Jacqueline Banner, of course. Hi, good to see you. Amanda Banner. I want to say hello to Kathleen Blanco. She's here in-house. JT. Sonny B. Sutherland Sr. is here. I got to say that again. Sonny B. Sutherland Sr. That's how he does it on his programs. By the way, you can check him out on Thursday. He has a program called I Ain't Having It, and he does a wonderful music program on Friday. My favorite, a 3-hour nonstop music program, and it's called the Sonny B. Sutherland Mixtape Show. All right, so you want to hear some real classics, perfectly curated for your listening pleasure? Check that out every Friday from 9 to midnight. All right, 3 hours nonstop music. You're gonna love it. And then also we have in-house Divine G. Oh man, we had a powerful non-disclosure agreement. I can't talk about it. Very powerful meeting. Great things are going to be happening. And by the way, I like his avatar's attire, man. Yeah, I like what he's wearing. So welcome, Divine G. By the way, folks who don't know, he's an Oscar nominated writer and producer of the critically acclaimed film called Sing Sing. It's based on his life story, folks. He has been wrongfully convicted, and he turned that wrongful conviction into worldwide success with the Oscar nomination. Good to see you in the house, Divine G. Good to see you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah,
Also, just want to remind the audience, I got a petition that's pending. It's called go to www.freedivine.org and sign that petition. Check out that evidence of my innocence and sign that petition. Thank you.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, put it in the chat and then we'll share it. Let it go viral. There are a lot of people who are actually and factually innocent, languishing in prison. Divine G was one of those. And although he's out, he is still fighting for his name. He needs to be fully exonerated. They did him dirty, so we can do something. It's always power to the people. And all we have to do is help by signing that petition and also talking about the case. I know sometimes we feel like we've done enough, right? I've signed the petition, I'm good, right? Once you take a look at this case, it's absolutely just fascinating, just the level of abuse and prosecutorial misconduct. It's mind-boggling that other people aren't in jail for doing crimes against human beings. I want to also say hello to Jamel. I didn't forget about you, Jamel Sutherland. He's the son of Sonny B. Sutherland. That's why I always say welcome friends and family, because we really have a family here, and friends, and it's just so wonderful to see people logging in so early in the program. I think it's important that we spread the word of mouth, and it's working, guys. Our numbers are growing and constantly growing exponentially, and we have a tiny budget, if any budget at all, to do the promotion. So our success, I want to really lay at the feet of all of you who listen in, who like and who share the content, and really help us to grow our network. All right, so thank you all for being here. Matter of fact, let me do it right. Let me give you guys a round of applause, some cheers. All right, thank you so much. I definitely appreciate it. Now, to show my appreciation, I like to bring some really wonderful and incredible talent to the stage, especially on the Tantrum Artist Management Show. Folks who don't know, we are inspired by this guest that we have today. I remember years ago as an artist, my first attorney was a man named Richard P. Dieguez. And he was just, when I say the consummate attorney, unlike, and we really lucked out because most attorneys, let's be honest, okay? Especially in the entertainment business, they are the sharks of the sharks. But we lucked out. We found somebody who was really super committed to helping artists really navigate the complexities of the industry, the ever-changing environment of the recording industry. And we found a voice, and we, at the same time, we found an attorney and a voice. We found someone who was, in a sense, in league with us because he was an artist himself, and he was so down to earth. And he also used to host a program. I'm putting it out there. That was like the mission statement of the Tantrum Artist Management Show today. So I think I got a lot of my inspiration from our next guest. He's no longer known as Richard. His name is Xiomaro, and he is now an internationally acclaimed photographer, curator. He's also an author, and he returns to the Tantrum Artist Management Show for a powerful new episode. And I'm telling you, from street corners and 42nd Street to national parks, from the lens to the legacy, Xiomaro captures history in real time. So I'm so glad that you guys were able to tune in, and we're going to bring him up to the stage right now. Let's welcome my good friend, Xiomaro. Hello, hello, hello. Hold on, let me get you on camera. You know how this thing goes, like every time, right?
Oh, that's part of the fun of it. That's it's live.
Yeah,
nobody vanilla here.
Every time, when we do these shows, it's like I have inside of it is that scene where what's this guy? He's, I want to just go live, and he's all frustrated. He's blowing a gasket, and the camera's still going, and everybody can hear him on air just spaz out. So that's what's happening inside. So right now, I'm just, what do you call it? I'm being professional. But right now,
well, speaking of which, that was a really incredible introduction. I'm very flattered by it. I almost didn't recognize you were talking about there.
Yeah, I mean, that's how, I got started. People don't know when you get your first contract, and it was a lengthy one, and then he got me in my, I remember, never forget it. It was like matter of fact, I still have the case. It was a brown case, and we were incorporated, and we just looked at that thing, man. I don't know if we just looked at it when we got it in the mail, and we just looked at all of our corporate papers, and it was like, wow, now we're ready for the big time. So I remember you told us how to take a really smart approach to entertainment. Okay, can you guys see me now? Yeah, so we're both on stage here. So I thank you so much, man, for just your constant encouragement and your inspiration, I think, for much of what we're doing here on the Tantrum Artist Management Show, where we're trying to help artists find their way. It's not easy, as you know, and it's a very complicated world, and when there's contracts and copyright and trademarks and loyalties, and then other folks and producers and all that. So you really helped us navigate a lot, and I think we bypassed a lot of foolishness and nonsense because of your leadership, your knowledge, and expertise. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, my pleasure. I mean, I've worked with many people over the years, and not all of them were very good clients. It goes both ways. There's a lot of sharky lawyers out there, and a lot of sharky,
characters.
So.
Artists too. A lot of folks don't know. I had a chance to work with so many wonderful artists. Some of which was I know Angel Clavellis. No, she's married now. Her name has changed. But I met her through you, Lisa through you, J. Rooted Damager through you. Who else did I meet? So many wonderful established artists, because You were such a networker, and then used to what was the name? What was the name? It was called Media.
The Circle.
The
You think
Circle.
about Circle meetings.
The Circle, yeah.
Yeah.
So now the Circle's online as the Tantrum Artist Management
For
Show.
folks who don't know, because this is way back, in the caveman days,
That's right.
where there was no social media.
That's right. That's right. We were doing it when there was no social media.
Yeah.
The internet was just. I mean, we were still with AOL. You got mail and all that noise, and but we were able to do it. But now let's talk a little bit. I think that's a good start to talk about how you transitioned from the wild world of entertainment law to this really international phenomenally recognized photographer. How did that happen, and how did it come about?
Well, I always saw myself as an artist. I mean, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be, in a band, and play. And I was doing that since I was 14 years old. Just when I had my first band, we were practicing in the basement. But again, this is before the internet. There weren't even very many books on the topic, so we had no clue how to get started. We didn't have money for lawyers or any of that stuff. I mean, the equipment that I had, my PA system was made by my father.
Oh, wow.
He had an electronics background, and he made chairs, antique chair reproductions. So my very first guitar, which I still have, he actually made it for me because I couldn't afford a guitar.
What a phenomenal guy.
Yeah, so it was. So they were very supportive of my parents, but very different time, hard to get the information. And then when I graduated law school, I started studying the entertainment law field, mostly for myself, because I wasn't even doing entertainment law at the time. I was working at a corporate firm doing litigation. But I figured, I want to protect myself. I want to know about copyrights, want to know about the contracts. I want to know how this all works. And I was working at this job just to make money and to try to pursue music on the side. I had a manager interested in me at one time. I don't even remember a group called, they did a song called One Thing Leads to Another. What were they called? The Fix, British rock group. And so Cy Kernan, the lead singer, he was interested in doing a production deal with me. So I had some things happening. Nothing came to be. But what would happen is when I would go into the recording studios, to record my own music, people would ask me, well, what do you do? And I'd say, well, I'm a lawyer. And immediately they start firing questions, copyright questions and things. And I was pretty surprised I was actually able to answer the questions. I knew enough where I could be of help to them. And so over time, I decided, well, maybe what I can do is start my own practice. I seem to know enough where I can help people. And so I left the corporate job that I had, which I really didn't like, to be honest with you, although it paid pretty well and I hated the job. And I started my own practice.
Isn't always the case. You get the right amount of money, but the hours suck.
A lot because nobody likes the job. But, I didn't really fit in, as you can imagine, especially back in those days. There weren't very many women in legal field quite yet. I mean, they were starting to. You didn't see too many blacks or Latinos. So I didn't really fit in. And so I left and I started my own law practice. But again, I always, was looking out for my own work. So I always recorded on the side and did things. I even did some shows and everything. But eventually the practice got successful enough where I was so busy with that I very rarely had time for my own thing. And also got a little complicated because people knew me, by my legal name. And so if they knew me as a lawyer, I wasn't really sure they took my music very seriously. They figured, he's just messing around. And also I wanted people to judge my music on its own merits, as opposed to them maybe saying nice things just to get on my good side. You know what I mean?
Right.
So even then I had pseudonyms, just like I have one now. But the real change happened. It started really with Napster. When Napster started happening and people were illegally downloading music, that devastated the music industry. And so what happened was when I was representing clients, well, first of all, let me just backtrack a little bit. When I represented clients on a record deal or a publishing deal or whatever it might be, a lot of times they didn't have money. They were, relatively young people from, poorer neighborhoods. And so what I would do is I would say, well, look, I'll tell you what, I'll hold off on my fee they're able to pay something up front to get me started. That was always helpful.
Mm-hmm.
But when we conclude the deal, they usually got an advance. And then from the advance, I would get paid. I wouldn't take a percentage because that would put me in a conflict. But whatever my bill was,
Right.
let's say they got a $10,000 advance and my fee was, say, $3,000, let's just say.
Right.
It would be cut from that. Well, when Napster started happening and really hurting the industry, the record contracts got more severe than they already were. So it was even worse for the artist. And there was little to no advances. So it was really hard to work with somebody because, there was just nothing to get started with.
And for folks out there who don't know, I think it's important because we understand Napster and stuff, but they were the early Spotify, right?
Yeah, I should have clarified that.
If we have some young folks on this, I would say Napster. What the heck is?
Yeah, I'm so ancient now that I forget. This is
it's like they don't know what MySpace is. It's like, what are you talking about?
But basically, yeah, it's a good way of putting it. It's like Spotify. It's just that instead of paying a subscription or having some arrangement where you can listen for free because Spotify pays license fees, it was just the Wild West. Napster just, people actually contributed the digital files and you can just access it and download it and keep it. So it was really, really bad. CD sales back when they had CDs, went down. So what happened was, I had to transition out of entertainment law because there was just no money. Everybody was hurting. Then we had the 2008 recession, and that made it even worse yet. So I ended up going back to corporate law, where I used to work, and I was just doing it purely for the money because I really didn't like it. But then I ended up having cancer, and cancer was what really pushed it over the edge. So when I got diagnosed,
cancer did you have?
I had prostate cancer.
Oh,
yeah, prostate cancer. And, I got it pretty young. I was in my 40s when I got it. So it was pretty unusual. But fortunately, it got caught early during a physical exam. So for those of you guys out there who don't do physical exams,
That's right.
From statistics that I've read, men in general tend to avoid physical exams. So I encourage doing it because I started feeling some pain. I went in to see the doctor right away. Actually, I didn't even go as soon as I should have. But I went early, and they told me that have you waited a little bit longer, it would have spread, and who knows what the outcome would have been.
Yeah, my doctor said something. Well, he said if you're going to have any cancer, he said he hated to say it this way, but prostate cancer is something that that's fixed, that's dealable. It's a lot better than getting
exactly
type.
When I got my diagnosis, I wasn't sure what the outcome was going to be, whether I was going to die or not, because they don't know whether it spreads even after a biopsy until they go in. But during the 6-7 months I waited for the surgery because they couldn't schedule it right away, I was kind of worried, like what's going to happen. Fortunately, there was no chemotherapy involved because it was just a purely surgical procedure. So I didn't go through that. So it was mostly mental. It's like, what's going to happen here? Am I going to wake up from this anesthesia? But when I did wake up from the anesthesia and, I got a clean bill of health, that really did something to me because it made me think like, you know what? I dealt with a lot of jerks in the music industry. I dealt with nice people, but folks like you are in the minority, to tell you the truth. Most of the people are, pretty sharky like everybody else. There was a lot of stress with it. I was always pretty easy on fees, and so I never really got paid as much as other lawyers did. I said to myself, I don't want to go back to doing that, and I also don't like my corporate job either. So I want to do something artistic. The problem with music, though, I do live music, so I'm old school. We play everything live, and it's hard to keep musicians together, because they got
personalities.
Personalities. They got drug issues. They're not committed, and you would think, as a band leader or as an entertainment lawyer, people would be on their A game because, obviously there's a better chance of getting somewhere if I'm involved in it. And they still just don't have their act together. So I just got tired of the whole music thing because I was doing coffee house clubs and coffee house shows and all that. And I just went to photography because when I was recovering from, the surgery, I kind of was more to myself. I was a little bit depressed. And I just took pictures, just to kind of keep myself busy. But when I was selling those photographs at the coffee house gigs that I was doing, the photos sold more than even the CDs that I had.
Wow.
And the profit margin on the photographs were higher too, and they're a lot easier for me to do. I don't need a band, to do
Right. Right.
photo. So that indicated to me that there was a path there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just took many years. I mean, we're going back to 2007 is when I bought my first professional or semi-professional camera, when I felt like I was committing to this process.
Right.
And it wasn't until 2011
Mm-hmm.
when I did what's called an artist in residence. So that's a program where I worked at a national park, and I was able to just spend a month by myself in a historic cottage, just focusing on my photography. And then from there, that's when it really started taking off, from 2011. So it's been a long process. It didn't happen, overnight. And during that time, I was still working at a corporate firm, again, just for the money.
Mm-hmm.
I had to keep everything hidden. Couldn't tell them what I was doing on the side. My mother was bedridden with dementia, so I had to deal with that. My daughter was going through a lot of drug issues because she had a condition called borderline personality disorder. So my wife and I were also dealing with that. My daughter eventually passed away, as did my father. My mother was bedridden with dementia. I'm working at this law firm that wants me to work, 50, 60, 70 hours a week without paying for the extra hours. And I'm still doing the photography on the side and doing programs like yours. I mean, it was really intense, but I was committed to it because, you don't know how much time you have.
Yeah.
I could, even though I'm cancer free as of right now, I can come back, I can cross the street and get hit by a truck. So you got to make every moment count.
Yeah.
And so I've been on this first of all, I've always been pretty intense, but I've been like hyper intense ever since, because you just don't know what's going to happen the next day.
Yeah. It gives you perspective, when you're faced with these kind of things. And, always say, why me? And then you start to feel like, or understand. I think you get to a point where you say things aren't happening to you, they're happening for you, and you go into a different direction. Like, who would have known that I would be a filmmaker and, and an award-winning filmmaker, won 2 film awards at Cannes back in the day when I wasn't really thinking too much about who would have known I would have worked with Melvin Van Peebles. I don't know if you know who he is. He's like a legend, an icon, and become one of his mentees. So my path sort of, you just, when certain things happen, loss of a loved one and family, and you don't understand it, and you're angry. You go through those different stages, and then it starts to make sense as you just continue to just put one foot in front of the other, man. So wow, this is such a powerful story. I want to get into like where you are now. I know you're on our program before. I want to catch up a little bit. What has changed or evolved since the last time we met and you're on the program?
Yeah, it's hard to believe it's almost a year that I was on.
Yeah.
Seems like it was just the other day. I think it was August 24 of last year.
Yes.
But so you might want to check out that podcast.
Yeah, it was a great podcast.
Yeah.
One of the most watched podcasts on.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Yeah. Since that year, as I think as most people know, there's a lot of change happening in government. And so national parks, which I've been working with for, 13 years, they've always had issues with getting proper budgeting and proper staffing. So they've always struggled with that. But now we're talking about some very significant budget cuts that are happening. And, we're only 7 months into the year. So we got like 3.5 more years of this happening. So who knows what's going to happen with the national parks. So anticipating that, I knew that, the past 13 years where I've been getting commissions from the National Park Service to create these photographic collections of at-risk environments, museum quality artifacts, historic sites. I knew that was probably not going to happen anymore. So I started kind of, moving in a different direction. So what I've been doing is really focusing on trying to broaden my international profile. I mean, I've always kind of had that anyway, but in the last year, I really started pushing for that. And I've been very fortunate in getting a lot of exhibits in a number of countries where I kind of lose track of where they are. But I know certainly China was a big one. I didn't think I'd get in there, but China, England, Germany, Italy, I think Spain maybe.
Yeah.
They're on my website. I don't remember.
You are all over the place. I'm like, this guy's blowing up everywhere I turn. When I'm on LinkedIn, I'm saying, this guy's all over the place. He was on, hey guys, he was on my show.
That's right.
He got his start with us. That's
Well,
I tell people. And then now you have this terrific article. Everyone, I think you should, if you get a chance, go to his website. We're going to put his website information in the chat. But just this incredible, really like spread. I mean, you should check it out. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and, if I can, I'm going to share my screen a little bit so people can check it out. Hopefully, you guys be able to see it. But you know, when I saw this picture right here, I was like, wow, that was really cool. They have a whole set up with him with equipment and all that. That's a real place. That's his place. I was like, yeah, that's where you are now. I'm like, cause I'm seeing this vintage camera. I was like, all this equipment. I said, this is like his story. This is his life, right? And I said, they really went all out.
Yeah, that's my studio. That's a part of my studio. That's actually the part where I do mostly music. And then I have another section, which is where I'm at right now, where I'm speaking to you from. That has my computer. And then I have another section where I do my framing and my printing. So, you know, I was living on Long Island for many, many years, and Brooklyn. I've been all over New York. Right. But I moved to a small town called Ramsey just right after the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And I needed it because I needed more studio space. There was getting so much stuff happening that I just needed more room, quite frankly. Mm. So this is a place that's set up where, you know, I can work very comfortably. I have everything in my fingertips for the most part. And
is it the guitar that your father built that you have in your hand?
Oh, actually, that's a Fender Stratocaster. Oh. I can afford those now.
Oh, wow. Whoa, tell folks might not know what that is. That's like the
a Fender Stratocaster.
That's the Rolls Royce of. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a great guitar. It's those of you who know Jimi Hendrix, which is probably one of the greatest guitar players ever. I bought that guitar specifically because he played a Strat, and it was kind of the same color, a little bit off white, kind of yellow. So I got two of those Strats. I have a Les Paul. Those of you who know about Les Paul guitars. And maybe a bunch of other ones, some acoustic guitars. And then my dad's guitars I have also, they're in a different location. But you know,
space.
Yeah,
it's so you.
Yeah, I wanted it to be comfortable. In fact, the flag behind me is it's actually an antique flag. If you'll notice it's only 48 stars instead of 50. My parents were collectors. So that was a flag they had that was part of their collection. And I just, you know, kept it because I thought it was kind of interesting, you know, flag like
this
that.
This is a great article, folks. I got to tell you, it's told by Selena McLaughlin. Mm-hmm. And the photographs are of Xiomaro by Jenny Burbick and Jenny Grant. The photography is really, really great. It's interesting taking photography of a photographer.
Yeah, on the other side of the lens for a change. So
yeah, and then the art. But check out this article. You can check it out by going to his page. It just came out. They did a really. I mean, how many pages is this thing? And it really goes into his journey, his life-altering journey, as well as the art with depth and dimension, which we're going to talk about after we take a quick commercial break. But yeah, congratulations on this article. This spread. It's really, really, really dope, and it's a really good read. It's like maybe about a 10 to 15-minute read. But definitely worth your time. We got to take a quick commercial break, folks. And when we come back, we're going to come back with the man, the legend, the curator, the artist, the photographer, Xiomaro. Don't go anywhere, okay? All right. We'll be right back.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a great opportunity. If you have an event, product, business, talent, and/or something important to say, now is your chance. You can have your very own radio show. Whether you're just starting out or a veteran looking for a professional platform to enhance your presentation and following, The GoPro Radio Network is the premier place to cultivate and share new and exciting content. We can help you grow your audience and keep it growing long after your first broadcast. Now you have a voice. Call 646-415-0990 or go to www.goproradio.com. That's www.goproradio.com. You'll be amazed at how easy and affordable it is to have your own professional radio show on the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
Here's the new Go.
My name is Terrell Martin. I'm a New York City union carpenter. A lot of people who were born here can't afford it. At my old job, like most regular non-union jobs, all of your benefits are coming out of your check. As a union carpenter, I get to keep what I make and my employer pays my benefits. If there's more union jobs in the city, there's more people getting paid to live where they work. Good jobs are essential to an affordable New York.
Oh, I love that music. Oh, we are right back, as I promised.
We back. Illuminati was trying to trip me up, man.
And guess who decides to come to work?
Illuminati was trying to trip me up, man.
Dreamcast McFly is in the house. McSuperfly. How are you, man? How you staying cool?
Staying cool, man.
That's good. That's good.
It's incredible out here, man.
Yeah, well, you know, our good friend Zio is in the house. Xiomaro is here, and you know, before we went to break, you know, we were talking about a lot. We covered a lot of ground, and I want to leave some room for our guests to ask some questions. So, you know, I had this, you know, whole outline. I think I'm gonna kind of keep it short because I know last time everybody was like, "Oh, you ended it too fast." Everyone's asking, so I don't want to hear that. So, so we're gonna open up the lines after I actually asked just a few more questions. You know, about, you know, his upcoming book. He has a new book project. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Zia?
Yeah. When I was working at the law firm, I didn't want to wait between one national park project to another. So, because I want to stay sharp with my skills. Mm-hmm. So I ended up just taking photographs between my walk from the law office to Penn Station and from Penn Station back to the law office, basically my commute. And I was just doing it for fun. Again, it was just to stay sharp. But those street photographs over a period of like 10 years ended up being quite a collection. Mm-hmm. And so because of all the activity that I've had with exhibits and different appearances like the one I'm having with you right now, mm-hmm. There's a lot of content on me online. And there's a publisher in England, and they apparently were looking for street photographers who might be able to write a book for a new series that they're launching on street photography.
Is that Font Hill?
Font Hill, yeah. They've since been purchased by or acquired by a company called Sutton Publishing. But in any case, you know, they were apparently they were just going online looking for people. They came across, I guess, some hits on Google on what I was doing. And they just sent me an email, and they offered me the opportunity to submit a proposal for a publishing deal. Mm-hmm. So I gathered all these pictures from New York City, and I presented my proposal, and they accepted it. And that book is now going to be coming out on October 27th. It's called Street Photography of New York City. Mm-hmm. Most of it's in the Times Square area and 6th Avenue, but goes into 8th Avenue and 9th Avenue. It's basically just very interesting people I've met on the street or really interesting situations, different protests that took place during the elections. And the book is already available for pre-order on Amazon.com. Nice. It's actually available on pre-order on all these other websites all over Europe that are not some are Amazon, some are just different ones. So they've done a pretty good job with that. And then they were so pleased with that book. Yeah, there we go. That's it right there. That's the cover.
Nice.
And they also asked me to do another. They said, you know, we like your work. If you want to submit other proposals, you can. So I submitted another proposal, and that one got accepted. And that book, the second book that I'm doing with them, the deadline is actually this Thursday. So when I submit the manuscript.
Oh, so you got to get out of here, right?
Yes, I've been working pretty hard on that.
Yeah.
And that one will probably come out next year, I'm thinking, just by the time the editors go through it and it goes into production. So, so all those things are scrolling through different exhibits that I have currently. And so that gets circulated.
I wanted to talk about the exhibits. And how does that happen? I mean, you're just blowing up. You're all over the place.
What's interesting is
mm-hmm.
What's interesting is you might know, or maybe folks don't know, in addition to being an entertainment lawyer, I was also an artist manager, and I managed different people, but probably the best known one was an artist named Lisa.
That's right.
It's in Cult Jam, and so I also have experience with the management process, and so really all I did was apply the same principles that I would use with the artists I managed to myself. Also publicity. I've always done a lot of publicity for the artists I've managed. So a lot of those publicity skills, I apply to my own work. But basically I'm pretty bold. I've always been pretty bold, but I got bolder after recovering from cancer. Mm-hmm. So I basically have no shame. I'll contact the museum out of the blue and I'll say, I want to do an exhibit. This is what I've got. And these are my ideas. And if you do the exhibit, I can also supplement it with talks. Right. I could do workshops. I can do all these I'll do my own publicity. I do the same thing with TV stations. I've been on ABC News, CBS News, PBS did a special on me, a little segment about my work. Mm-hmm. And so some of those I contact them directly. Sometimes they contact me.
Right.
But the main thing is to initiate and kind of get it out there, because you never know where it ends up and who hears about it or who finds out about it. So, just staying on it every day,
Yeah, you know how to make things happen. And I'm telling you, that's a Taurus trait. I'm telling you, Divine G. Whitfield, he's a Taurus. He's a Taurus brother, one about. Yeah. He just happens to be a May Taurus. You can't have everything.
But it is a Taurus thing.
But he is a Taurus, yes. And, he's published so many books and he's won awards while incarcerated.
There you go.
While he was incarcerated, he won so many book awards. And that's what actually brought a lot of attention to his case. And guess what he told me?
This is just what we do, man.
Yeah, he said, that's my strategy all the time. Yeah, and dreams are Taurus. This, I'm telling you, we're surrounded by bulls today, right? The bulls
but those folks who are not Tauruses or Tauri, whatever you call them, don't lose hope.
Yeah. You'll eventually be all right.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is you got nothing to lose by trying. The worst that can happen is they say no, or you never
just
hear.
A little more tenacious. That's all.
Yeah,
this is the massive producers, builders, and go-getters, and we starters. We don't, we take the initiative always.
Yeah, I mean, it's really important because I won't mention names, but there was an artist that I co-managed with somebody pretty famous. Mm-hmm. And between this person's name and my contacts, we got a major showcase for them. Mm-hmm. And we had everybody from the record companies there, which is really hard to do,
Exactly. Especially.
And then these idiots, these jackasses, I could say worse things, but I won't. They don't show up. They finally did, very, very late after all the record label people came. And there are people who are afraid of failure to the point where they want something really, really bad, but actually not bad enough because they will get overwhelmed and they don't show up. So needless to say,
or they sabotage it. I mean, that's they self-sabotage, but then they bring other people with them.
Exactly. They look really, really bad. And obviously we dropped this person and, and that happens. And that's why sometimes it's really hard to get through, because the people on the other end, whether it's a museum, a record company, or whatever it is, a publisher, they know that a good percentage of people are going to burn them.
Right.
So that's why it becomes such an obstacle to try to penetrate that. But for those
well, here's a good question to ask Zio next time when you do things with other people. Just ask them, are they Taurus?
Yeah, that's right.
That's a good place to start. Excuse me.
But that's a very good point, though. there is, I was kind of generous in that I should have vetted people a little bit more.
Right.
I tend to believe people when they get all hyped up and passionate, and I kind of connect with them because I'm an artist too. So I want them to succeed.
Yeah.
But you really kind of have to be hard nosed about it. You got to vet them really carefully.
Yeah. You know what? I keep saying that to myself, but it's I keep believing that this person's going to be different, it's going to be right, but people eventually tell on themselves and they tell you who and what they are. You just got to believe them.
Yeah, that's why eventually I just kind of left all that behind. I said I'm going to be my own artist. I'm going to manage myself because I know that I'm going to get the work done. If I got to stay up all night long to get something done, I don't mind losing sleep over it. I'll do it.
Right. Well,
and Vine's a great example. I mean, he did that while he was incarcerated. I mean, come on, that's
Yeah. I've been through that same journey. I mean, I'm very open-hearted about taking risks with people, and I have been disappointed on so many occasions. I can't even begin to count them. I kind of get great pleasure in working on projects that I have full control over because I'm going to get it done. I don't start unless I complete it. That's it. That's once I'm on it.
And you know what? In a way, your incarceration is kind of like my cancer. When you get out of that situation, you have a renewed energy, right, to make every day count.
Right.
So craziest thing to say, but prison, man. I mean, if someone was trying to hurt me, that was the worst place to put me because I mean, it was just novels, screenplay, National Writing Awards, president of the organization, started RTA. I mean, I can't even begin to count all of the blessings that came out as a direct result of that astronomical punishment I went through. I went to prison for a crime I didn't commit, spent 25 years in prison, found overwhelming evidence of my innocence, just couldn't get out. I even had a Governor Elliot Spitzer. When you see the movie Sing Sing, that was the clemency hearing that Governor Elliot Spitzer gave to me, man. So it was crazy. Yeah.
I mean, that's why it's hard to hear artists belly aching about this, that, and yet I don't have the money, I don't have the contacts, I don't have this, I don't have that, and they keep on making excuses. And at some point, you got to stop making excuses and just work with what you got. Right.
There you go.
I used to make up meetings, right, Sonny?
That's
Sonny would go ahead. You sure you had a meeting? I would wait for people in the lobbies. I'm telling you, we are in a very unique time in history where you can really make things happen, and that's what this show is about. And I'm glad that Zio is talking about this now, because for all the folks who are listening, is that sometimes you can be your biggest obstacle. All you have to do is sometimes put a little sweat and grease, into the mix, and mighty forces will align themselves with you. Just keep walking, keep going in a certain direction, and you'll find that all the things that you said that you don't have, all those things will just present themselves in front of you. I never in my wildest dreams would think I would ever meet Melvin Van Peebles, let alone work with him on his final film or become a mentee. I never thought I would even meet Danny Glover and he would help me with Disappearing Voices. I never would have met, and I never thought I would meet a Zio. And can you imagine that? The first lawyer I get, I meet a guy like this. I mean, most people got to get burnt 3 or 4 times first. Right before, at the bat out was this guy that he was so humble and real and just told me the facts and things like that. Or the fact that I met Divine G and we just hit it off. We did Wicked in This Land, and I'm telling you, and Dream. I mean, Dream is a dream. This young guy, young energy. I'm just so grateful for all the people really that have been who've been sent. It's funny how people think like angels got wings and it's this mystical shooby-dooby. No, angels are real people. They're just people that come into your life and offer these incredible moments of inspiration right at the point that you need it. They give you that little push, give you that little nod and say, oh, yes, you can do it. Stop that. And that's what we all need in this complex, always changing environment and world. But having said that, we're going to go to questions because the manager said, let's go open the floor for questions. If you have any questions, you can you can unmute your mic and you can ask the photographer extraordinaire, Xiomaro. He's here. Any questions, ask away.
Who will be first?
You can unmute yourselves. You don't need me to request it.
I guess my question is kind of superficial to some extent. I mean, what was one of your greatest surprising accomplishments when you initially started that kind of like catapulted you to where you're at now?
As far as photography goes?
Yeah, photography.
Yeah, definitely the National Park Artist in Residence program that I got accepted to. I applied to it not expecting to get accepted because the people they typically accept are people with a big resume of exhibitions. Some of them are professors, and I had none of that. In fact, they needed 3 recommendations, and I had to really, really scramble to get even that because I had nothing. But, I submitted what I did, and when I got there, when they accepted me, I worked really hard. I networked with everybody there and met everybody, a lot of the leaders in the neighborhood, and right away ended up getting some media coverage even then. So that was a big one. That really I just needed something to kind of push me to give me some momentum. And then from there were other ones that happened, but that was definitely the first one.
By the way, folks, I just got reminded that you can also ask the questions in the chat. If you can't because you're taking care of babies or you're doing stuff or you're at the job, you can also text your questions. We got a couple of questions, text us, but you can do that too. You can also do that on Facebook if you want to send us your questions, and I'll ask them here. Here's a question that came through. Jacqueline said, what was your favorite place to photograph and why?
Wow, a lot of favorite places. I think photographing in Manhattan, even though I've had the privilege of being allowed to enter into these historic houses that are literally museums, and they let me walk in there, same footsteps, same floorboards that George Washington walked on, and they let me in there without anybody watching me, there's an energy to photographing on the street, and it's a lot like music for me because it's very improvisational. You have very little time. Like when I photograph in the parks, I got a tripod, I set it up, and nothing is moving because I'm just photographing a room or something. But when I'm on the street, I got to watch out, make sure I don't get pickpocketed or punched, which happened once.
Really?
Wow. Yeah. The guy thought I was taking his photograph, and I wasn't. Cursing him out because I don't take that. But anyway, I digress. But there's just an energy to being in the moment, making sure you don't get hit by a car, and then people are constantly moving, so you got to think real fast. And for me, it's like improvising on a guitar or like a jazz musician improvising on a trumpet or something. So I find that really just inspiring, and it's just very different from photographing the other places. And it's not to take away from the other places, but I don't know. I just get kind of almost get a high from photographing that way.
I think the energy in New York City is unlike. I've been in LA, but New York City, especially Midtown, certain places, it's just so unique and so unpredictable. So being able to capture those moments, like and immortalize them through photography, is just so powerful. Amanda has a question. She says, "Are you offering private lessons?"
Not at the moment, but I'm actually open to that. It's been suggested many times, and people have asked me about it. But yeah, in fact, I used to do a lot of workshops through the National Park Service. But again, all that stuff is getting cut through the government, so I don't think it's going to happen anymore. But if someone's really interested, they're welcome to email me or send me a message on Facebook, and we'll talk about it and see what we can figure out.
Okay. And Kathleen says, what's the one thing you'd share with upcoming artists or photographers that you follow, what's this, on or do yourself?
Yeah, I think the mistake a lot of photographers make is they think it's all about the camera, So the thinking is the better the camera, the better my pictures. And that is completely not true. And I do follow that rule. In fact, many of the photographs that are in this book that's being published and being released worldwide are photographs I just took with my phone. That's just what I had. And then the other camera that I used on it is, a very good camera, professional camera. But look, the camera that I use when I photograph for the Park Service, it's a $5,000 camera.
Whoa.
Pretty good camera. Yeah. The one, I didn't want to carry that in Times Square because I'll certainly be victimized, but I used a $1,200 camera, which is still a lot of money. But again, I use my iPhone And those actually, some of my iPhone pictures, not only are they in the book, many of them got printed and exhibited overseas.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really important piece of advice. Because I hear so many people saying, "Oh, I wish I could be a great photographer, but I don't have the money to buy a camera." And it's not about that. The most important piece of equipment that you have is not the camera, but it's the one between your ears. And that's what really counts. And the same thing with music. I mean, I know a lot of musicians who say, well, I could play better if I had a $5,000 Les Paul guitar, or, if I had this piece of software. And it's really not about that at all. I mean, if you think about it, hip hop began with people who didn't have any money. They just used whatever they had. And now it's a worldwide genre. They weren't waiting at this, that, and the other thing. They couldn't even have a band, so they just used turntables.
That's right. That was the band.
That's right.
That was the band.
So,
well, one last question I want to ask you. You know me, I'm always political. I'm thinking about the politics of things, and I see a lot of pictures from national parks and cultural sites. And do you ever feel tension between preserving history and confronting the darker aspects of it?
Oh, all the time. In fact, perfect example. I photographed a national park on Long Island. It's called the William Floyd Estate. William Floyd was a general under George Washington. He signed the Declaration. He signed the Declaration of Independence. And a lot of people don't know this. His estate on Long Island was a plantation. People think of the plantation as being down south, but he had it up here too. So when the National Park Service commissioned me to photograph the park, I ended up spending a lot of time photographing something that people don't even notice or really talk too much about, and it was a slave cemetery. And I photographed this slave cemetery, and then I did an exhibit at the African Burial Ground National Monument in Manhattan. And I got a little bit of pushback on that because the descendants of William Floyd, I mean, they're still out there. They thought that I was tarnishing his reputation, and that was not my intention. I was just acting like a reporter and just reporting what the facts are, And
right, exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, I said, first of all, it doesn't really tarnish their reputation because later generations of this family ended up fighting during the Civil War on the northern side. So I said, you got to look at the whole thing. So, and also this is the way things were back then. I mean, William Floyd was no different than other people who had plantations, but people get sensitive about it. And this, they kind of challenged me a little bit during a talk that I did. And, I wasn't mean about it, but I did give it right back to them. I said, look, this is a fact. I went through the diaries and journals of the family and all the history, and it's there. So, I'm sorry, but that's the way
it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah. But it was interesting because even a lot of African-American, or I guess the term now is black, a lot of black leaders on Long Island were not aware of this cemetery. And part of the pushback was they were saying, well, there's no proof that there are bodies under there. And I said, yeah, that's true. There's no proof. Sonar has not been done or conducted to see if there's any bodies there. But again, the history proves that William Floyd did have enslaved people, not just, and also some paid servants. They were black and they were also Native American. And that's just the way it is. So I do try to uncover these things whenever I can. And again, it's not about making anybody look bad. It's not about being woke, It's just reporting what's there. It's the same thing when I do street photography. If I see something weird happening, I'm going to photograph it. And I'm sorry if it's weird, but that's what's there,
Right. All right. So the name of the book is Street Photography of New York, Street Hauntings in the Big Apple. And you can order it today. I would advise you to grab it because, let me tell you, this thing is probably going to go fast. I know that this book is going to be well worth it. And is it hardcover? Like, can you tell us a little bit about the book itself?
Hardcover is always, and I'm one of them. We always like the hardcover books.
Yeah. Put on your coffee table.
Yeah. The problem is that then nobody can afford it. They're like $100, these books, So although my ego, I'm just being honest, my ego wants a big hardcover book that one day. This particular book is a smaller book. It's maybe 9 inches by, I don't know, 6 inches. It's soft cover. It's $20 some, not $100. But that's cool too.
Well, can you get the option? What if somebody says, "Look, it's more worth it to get $100 to have this incredible piece of art that and it's not just one piece; it's a lot of pictures." So
this particular company doesn't offer that option, at least not yet.
Okay.
But what I like about the soft cover is that it democratizes art for people. So why should all the rich people have all the fun, right? So just let some average folks be able to get a book. It's small, it's light, it's soft cover. You can put it in your purse or in your backpack. You can read it on the train. So I really like the fact that it makes it more accessible. But again, part of the journey that I'm on is that maybe one day I can get big enough or well known enough where maybe somebody will offer a publishing deal for a coffee table book and a version for everybody else.
Well, I predict that next year this time, since you come and see me every once a year, we'll be talking about that book. All right, but thank you so.
Make a lot of money. You won't be able to afford it.
Yeah, no, we'll be able. We'll get it. It's going to be well worth it for us. Thank you so much for being here, and lots of success, continued success. You are a brother in arms. You're, in terms of the struggle with entertainment, and I just love your journey. Your story is absolutely fascinating. I hope that, when you get a chance, check out the article. The article is in the link. Don't forget to pre-order this book and just stay up on everything about Xiomaro. You can go to our website. We're going to post all the information, all the connected links. So you can go to GoProRadio.com. And just keep it right here at the GoPro Radio Network.